So today, I want to go over the continuing saga of these tariffs, and well, I guess this is just my opinion. So I pinned to the top of my TikTok two videos. One was from January 27th, and the other one I think is February 17th. The 27th, January 27th, I said that I believe that what Trump was doing was a strategy to get to renegotiate the USMCA, which was replaced by the NAFTA. Now, when Trump declared on TV that the USMCA was the worst agreement ever negotiated in the history of the United States, he forgot to mention that this was his agreement. And he forced it on Mexico and on Canada, and they signed it. Now, in there, Trump insisted on several things. The first thing he insisted on that it goes to 2036. It can't be renegotiated till July of 2027, and renegotiations can't start until 6 months before July 2027, which would put it right after the midterms. So Trump wants to renegotiate this so at the midterms he can say, hey, look what I did, which is fair. So since it was his deal saying that we can't renegotiate until 6 months before 2027, he had to declare a national emergency. And the national emergency, or safety, whatever you want to call it, was fentanyl. Forget that no fentanyl actually comes in from Canada, but it is what it is. His goal was not to stop the fentanyl. His goal was to renegotiate USCMA. So then on the 17th of January, I posted about the Japanese. The Japanese, during leading up to World War II, looked around and said, hey, if we're going to go to war with the Americans, they assessed the situation and said America was 10 times stronger. There was no chance of them winning the war. But we all know they attacked us at Pearl Harbor. And the reason this is important is because they said that America was 10 to 1 more industrial power than Japan. And when you look at Canada and Mexico, they have a 3 and almost $4 trillion economy. Ours is somewhere between 25 and 30. Some people say 29. So basically, we're about 10 to 12 times larger than Canada and Mexico. So in no way, shape, or form could they ever win a trade war with us. Just not happening. I mean, think about it. Canada's going to put the tariffs on $150 billion worth of stuff coming to America. We're a $29 trillion economy, not a lot of effect. Now, on the other hand, $150 billion on a $3 trillion economy, obviously a bigger effect. So then when you look and you say, how is this true or not, okay? And think about what's happened. So notice when they took all the Kentucky bourbon off of the shelves. That's because in the USMC, there's actually a special section for Tennessee whiskey, which actually describes Kentucky bourbon. I have to be honest with you, why it's called Tennessee and it's made in Kentucky, someone else is going to have to tell me. But in there, it specifically says that you're not allowed to put tariffs against this. So Canada, not to break the USMCA, because they don't want to renegotiate it this time, they said, we'll just take it off the shelves. We just won't sell it, which is not against the agreement. Then you look at what happened yesterday, we know now, with Lutnick, who's our trade negotiator or whatever. He called up Ford, a guy head of Ottawa, who's been very vocal about what he's going to do to America. He's going to cut off our energy. He's going to cut off our potash. We get 80% of our potash from Canada. Trust me, we can't farm. You have all this farmland, we use potash. We don't have it. We have potassium, but we don't have potash. This is a big deal. And if they cut off the power, I mean, I'm in New York, so we have 5 states that run off of Canadian power. If they cut that off, it's a real issue for us. So Lutnick called up Ford and said, what are you doing? You stop messing around with us. get in line. And he told them in a very Canadian way, F off. And by the way, call your boss and tell him to F off too. So you have to understand something. The goal of the Trump administration is not to put the tariffs on. The goal is to get them to renegotiate the USMCA, which is Trump's deal. This is what he insisted that they sign, and his agreement superseding the NAFTA agreement. So what's going to happen from this? I don't know. You saw what happened to the stock market when they believed that these tariffs were being put on. They're on right now. We're waiting to see if they're going to take them off. Lutnick says there could be an announcement this afternoon. I have no idea if there is or not, okay? But this is why I talked about the Japanese. You've been seeing all the videos on the Canadians and the Mexicans. They're not in a mood to roll over. We said this in the video on the 17th. Seems to me they're not rolling over at all. And the problem that the politicians face in these two countries is that their people are demanding that they fight. So whether we like it or not, that we're trying to force this down their throats, they're not going to take it. And by the way, they're going to get hurt, and hurt badly. But let me tell you something. We're going to get hurt, and we're going to get hurt very badly, okay, too. Same thing. I mean, I don't see, you say we're going to bring home, manufacturing of cars in this country. Let me tell you something. You put on these 25% tariffs, we won't be making any cars in America. None. I don't care what anybody says. And by the way, think about these tariffs. You put them on today, and you say, bring home and start manufacturing in America. Fair. I totally understand it and support it, 100%. Here's the problem. How are you going to build these factories? You're going to build them in a day, a week, a month, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years? What is it going to be? You're going to leave the tariffs on for 10 years while we build plants in America? We have at all-time lows on unemployment. Where are we going to get the workers? I don't know if you follow the Tariff Girl on TikTok. She's definitely worth following. She goes over all the numbers demographically. We don't have the numbers, okay, to manufacture. And all our low-end workers, well, you know what we're doing. Go ask Nebraska how they're doing with their losing 60% of their workers. Literally, all their farmers are going bankrupt, so they're not going to pay taxes. And the state of Nebraska now is saying, we're going to have to declare bankruptcy. Listen, we are changing. We are moving into a new world. But at the same time, we have to be smart about it. So what are we going to do here? I don't know. How is this going to end? I don't know. My opinion is Trump will pull the tariffs or try to renegotiate, but so far they've not renegotiated. And notice what they're addressing. Because Trump could not officially and legally renegotiate the USMCA, he had to declare this fentanyl, national emergency. So guess what? They responded to the fentanyl national emergency. Okay? So they responded in a way that he didn't expect. He thought, they roll over and then I'll just get them to change their tariffs. Didn't happen. So, Canada, I think you're turning Japanese. I really think so. Like and follow and tell me what you think.